Greetings, Game Cola faithful, and welcome to the Game Cola podcast. This, as always, is your host, podcast commander, Joseph Martin. There's nothing different about this podcast. Everything is completely normal.
Do not adjust your radio.
Your Bluetooth headphones. Yes, with me, Joseph Martin. Today, we have...
Hi, I'm Anna Bryniarski, and I'm on a podcast, and this is definitely me, Anna Bryniarski.
This is me, Joseph Martin. I am also commanding the podcast.
I am James Pelster, and I have not been here in a while.
Hi, my name is Argofump, aka Michael Gray, and
You liar! He hasn't
really?
been on the podcast in years. Where are you?
Special
I
guest
haven't
star.
heard that name in years.
So now that we've
Name I
committed
haven't heard
identity
in a long
theft,
time.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Yes.
Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. A long time.
of
So
course
yes,
I
this-
know, he's me.
Joseph Martin is currently high above the earth.
In
For-
space.
I sure am.
Yes. He's, yes. So, today, I, Jedraszczak, Alexter-in-Chief, am here to take over temporarily as podcast commander, to try to remember how to run a podcast.
Not send visual media, and
Yes.
not mention what the visual media is.
Yes, yes. Speaking of visual media, have you guys heard of video games?
I've heard
I
of
think
video
so.
from the last
You ask this
episode.
every podcast.
Yeah.
What is the point?
Yeah.
Our answer is
My friend
always
just
the
told me
same.
about it last week. What is it?
They talked about it at my church, and it sounded real upsetting.
Yeah.
Did you go to church in 1975?
Or 1998 or
Or
currently.
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
But yes, I do not have a topic, but I do believe that James is very excited to talk about something.
That he's upset about.
I am very excited, and well, I'm excited in multiple ways. I have multiple different things to talk about, some of which I'm very happy about, some of which I'm very unhappy about. So, would you like the unhappy rant or the happy rant first?
Let's get
Well,
the
for-
unhappy rant out the way.
For
All
context, though, this past month was basically E3 time, even though there was no E3, but a
It
lot of
was
companies
Pride
still...
Month.
And that too.
Yes.
That too. More importantly,
It's
that
Pride
too.
Month.
I brought werewolves for Pride Month into being.
I also have a topic, and it is Sims. I know Dana talked about it last month. I'm going to talk about it now.
I
Alright.
was saying this for context because there was just a lot of video game news that a lot of us want to talk about.
Oh,
Basically.
yeah. Yes, indeed. All right. So, to start off with, Minecraft is a game that I have been playing since the beta days back in 2011, 2012. And they just came out with a new update, 1.19, the Wild update. It's cool. It's not as groundbreaking or incredible as the previous update, which just completely overhauled the way that terrain and the world generates. It was a huge, amazing overhaul, and I've loved that update. It really brought a lot of, kind of my love for even just vanilla Minecraft back, that I hadn't really felt, for many, many years.
Wild's
But-
update is the one without fireflies, right?
Yes. Without fireflies, because they added frogs, and fireflies are, poisonous to frogs. They did the same thing when they introduced parrots, actually. They said that you could tame parrots by feeding them cookies, but the cookies are chocolate chip, and chocolate is poisonous to birds, so they actually changed that before release. So that is not without precedent, actually. But anyway, what is without precedent, however, is something that they've kind of subtly tried to sneak in in my opinion, without really giving people a big heads up about it, despite how important of a change it is in 1.19.1, the sort of a small incremental release of 1.19. They've been working on this feature for chat reporting, and previously, there wasn't a whole lot of information known about it, and that was that any player, basically they developed a new signed chat feature, which basically helps authenticate and verify that any chat messages are coming from who they say they are, and that they are a legitimate Minecraft player and not some bot or some account being hijacked, remotely. So now that they've had this implemented, they have added a way to report chat messages. However, the part that everyone is very upset about, and I know it's very upset because Mojang has been trending on Twitter for the past week straight, is because everyone thought, oh, this is great. They'll be giving server operators, the server operators that run these servers will get these reports with details about, hey, here's these chat messages that were sent by this user. Here's the reason why this user thinks that they are problematic, or here's what category they fall into. So for huge servers, this will make moderation and documentation of problematic chat messages and players much easier. But no. It does not go to the server owners or the server runners. It goes directly to Mojang, who, rather than simply saying, all right, you've sent X number of problematic messages that are problematic for this reasons, our moderation team has decided to mute you, like they do in other services like Steam and like Valve's service Steam, you can be banned outright from all multiplayer content.
What?
Period.
Wow.
Yeah.
So to make up for this, they released the Buzz Lightyear DLC.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So now, let me get this out of the way. Chat moderation is great, and I think that this feature, had they implemented it in a sane and rational manner, could have been an excellent tool, as I said before. Had this information been sent to the server administrators, whose job it has been since Minecraft multiplayer came out in the first place, to help adjust this and take care of problematic behavior like this, who literally hire moderators in the cases of really big, high-profile commercial servers to take care of this. And if you did something problematic on one server, yeah, you were punished for it. You said, hey, you're muted, you're kicked, you're banned for X amount of time or permanently. But Mojang has decided to completely overstep that and say that no, now we are the arbiters of what is good in multiplayer and correct to say, and bad behavior will be punished by global multiplayer bans. You can't even play on a locally hosted server. When you click on the multiplayer button, it says, no, your account has received this strike for this reason, and you are not allowed to play multiplayer, full stop, for X amount of time, or theoretically, permanently.
Yeah.
And that is a massive problem. And I understand that, yes, this is all being done for the sake of preventing, things like illegal activity and that sort of thing, which is a large amount of the categories that you can report messages for. But the problem is, if Mojang can't trust their player base not to say horrible things in chat, how do they expect those same terrible people to not abuse in any possible way they can this reporting system, whose ramifications mean that someone can just outright no longer play an entire aspect of the game that they paid for? That's such a horrible, tone-deaf, in my opinion, and boneheaded idea. And I genuinely am shocked that I think they were really, really shady with how they went around this, because they implemented this feature and then they said, hey, one of the reasons we're implementing signed chat is for enhanced security, just that vague term, and also so that the servers can perform stylization on chat messages that are sent. Like their little test program was to make all chat messages rainbow. And so that you could, preview on the client side any special effects like adding emojis or other stuff to chat messages. And then with the pre-releases for 1.19.1, the little small incremental release, is when they revealed, hey, here's the screen that shows up, and here's all this stuff that shows up in case chat reporting, this thing that we're adding, results in a ban. And it was just kind of a shock to everyone in the community, and everyone was like, whoa, this is not what we wanted. Even huge server owners are saying, this is not what we asked for. We didn't ask you to step in and do this for us, Mojang. We've defined our own rules, and we're the ones that are supposed to be enforcing them ourselves.
Yeah.
Because there are entire servers called anarchy servers, which I'm not really a fan of from a personal standpoint, but they exist so that things like griefing, using hacked clients, and all that other stuff is fine. It's just literally, you join this server, just do whatever the heck you want. People can destroy your buildings, steal your stuff, kill you, use cheats, use X-ray, just do whatever the heck. It's called anarchy for a reason.
The mean options in games.
Yeah, and while it's not ever something I would play in, those servers effectively now cannot exist because in their entirety, because any sort of this behavior, I'm pretty sure that kind of behavior extends to chat, and obviously that leads to naturally, very unsavory types. But to outright prevent people who aren't unsavory from playing on these servers, I don't know how I feel about that. And they already had something in place for Bedrock Edition, which is the console and Windows 10 special versions of Minecraft. And that made a little more sense because all of the servers, the most servers in Bedrock Edition, were run by Mojang or Microsoft themselves. And there's also, of course, Mojang's, for Java Edition, they have their own, here's our official hosted servers called Realms. If bans for chat reporting would happen only in officially run servers and banned you from playing in all of those, even then, I could be persuaded to say, okay, this is all right. But the problem really ultimately stems from the fact that this doesn't just prevent you from playing in officially sanctioned and sponsored, like officially run, stuff. I can see why Microsoft and Mojang would want to keep their own servers clean and tidy, right? It makes sense. But to say, to just overstep that and to say that, no, we have this jurisdiction over everyone's servers that anyone is running, I don't know. That's just really, really overstepping their bounds. And so the community is really upset. A lot of really high-profile server owners have said, we're just not updating to the new update, period. Until Mojang, actually listens to us and, realizes that this is not what any of us want.
Yeah, that sounds like the only solution aside from don't ever play multiplayer at all.
Yeah. It's terrifying because, again, there is so much potential for abuse. And Mojang have said all of these reports are going to be reviewed by people. Yeah, sure, right. All reports are going to be reviewed by people for the most popular game on the planet? Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how many chat reports are going to come in per day, per hour, from the millions of Minecraft servers that are currently running?
Yeah, and there's already a workflow in place, as you said, is just let the server admins handle it. There's already a workforce in place that could handle this, and if they wanted to bump it up and say, whoa, this person deserves a complete ban, then let them pass it up as opposed to by default going to the top at the start. That's a little...
Exactly. That's what's so concerning and why I genuinely say that it's tone deaf, because it's like the decision making behind this had no idea that moderation existed and has existed in servers, personal servers, for a decade. a whole decade, slightly longer if you count like because there are plugins even for like mostly vanilla servers. Like obviously even vanilla has ban and kick, right? The most basic forms have existed in multiplayer servers since the beginning. Since the beginning of multiplayer, we've had at least the most basic forms, and that gets the job done for personal stuff. If you have some random person joining that managed to find your IP address or something and starts causing havoc, boom, get them out of here. And then larger servers have huge workflows and workforces in place to take care of this already, and they are all telling you, we didn't ask for this. Or better yet, we wanted this, but we wanted it to come to us and not go straight to the top to have some commandments about what should and shouldn't be said in any multiplayer server ever run, handed down from on high.
Yeah.
Because one of the guidelines says, hey, it's recommended to not talk in all caps because that can be interpreted as yelling and that can be seen as rude. Okay. So does that, and the guideline, sure, like obviously it says don't promote like illegal drug use or something. Okay, sure. But any self-respecting server that, wants to have a decent community is already going to crack down on stuff like that. So you're telling me that someone can be reported for being rude because they talked in all caps? You can be banned for talking in all caps from global multiplayer, period? That's insane. And maybe that's not the case, but then that is an explicit example used in the community standards page that Mojang links you to regarding chat reporting.
Also, like, okay, so let's say that coming down from on high, they say, oh, well, this isn't really a bannable offense. And it's like, okay, well, but we on our personal server wanted to know about that in order to, block this person.
Yeah. Like I said, basically everything that's wrong with this situation could have been avoided if these tools and this system had been given to the server owners rather than Mojang. It's literally just I don't know if I would say it's a chain of command thing. That's probably not the right phrase to use, but it really is Mojang and Microsoft vastly overstepping their bounds.
Yeah.
And what I would even say their right to moderate. Like, if we bring up, hey, this is a problematic player from, like there's multiple reports from multiple different server owners, sure, that's one thing. But even then, I would say, like, regardless, you should not be prevented from playing local multiplayer just with your friends.
Yeah.
What kind of a punishment is that? Is complete and utter isolation from the entirety of the social aspect of this game?
Yeah.
Really? Does that not strike anyone at Mojang or Microsoft as excessive?
Yeah.
It feels like they should have known better, and like if it wasn't a big company that has that words.
Yeah, like
that's
again,
had Minecraft for so long.
Multiplayer has existed for over a decade.
Right.
Why are we just coming up with this now and just making this sudden, like, taking this sudden action as if we've never had any sort of moderation? Like, oh,
this
yes.
Isn't the actions of, like, a new company with a new game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, again, it comes back to my remark that it feels tone deaf. It feels like the people that came up with this and pushed it all forward to this stage had no idea about how any of this stuff works.
Or they know exactly what they're doing, and their plan is to make sure nobody can ever play multiplayer again, so they don't have to run it,
Yeah.
I guess.
So people will have
playing Minecraft.
The
please.
way that things are going, it genuinely sort of feels like that, because the huge outpouring of feeling from the community in general seems to be, we are not playing multiplayer, or we are not updating our servers to support this new feature until you clarify and fix this. Like, genuinely, there has been a massive And I mean, again, this is potentially the largest gaming community on Earth.
Yeah.
And you thought that kind of sneaking in this feature where community standards are now suddenly, after a decade or more of multiplayer existing on its own and being handled by the community itself, to suddenly have Mojang step in front of you and say, no, we'll take it from here. We know how to do things.
It's a conspiracy to.
If
With
everybody's
so
banned,
little advance
no one
notice
will.
and barely any information ahead of time to let us know that this was a thing that was going to be happening. It did not exist as a concept, to my knowledge, before the 1.19 update.
So what
to
is what is the good news? What was your good?
The good news is that they have Ice Age DLC.
All right. Anyway, I've just been ranting about this. So anyway, I'm very
The good
upset about
news.
this. The community is very upset about this. Microsoft and Mojang need to fix this. Like, in my opinion, they need to backpedal and give this feature and entirely remove themselves from this feature and give it to server owners and server operators to do with this information what they ought to do. But to end it off there, I'm very, very frustrated because I've been playing Minecraft for a decade now, and it seems like we went from an amazing update that really rekindled my love for the game and its developers to an update that has completely destroyed my sense of any goodwill from that very same team. Like, just a complete and utter reversal of my opinion on the people currently working on this game. It's really upsetting.
The conspiracy is that they want people to buy the Ice Age DLC because little do they know the fix is actually in there. I've been trying to work that. I've been trying to work
except that's for the console version of the game.
I know. I've been trying to find a way
which
to.
has always had this moderation feature. So.
I've been trying to find a way to work that into a punchline for the past 10 minutes.
Lots of weird DLC. I don't like. It's console DLC. It's microtransactions. I don't get it. I've never really liked the Bedrock version of the game. But anyway.
I hear that they're changing it so that if you buy one version, you have both.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that Bedrock isn't, like, in my opinion, the inferior version, because, one, it has microtransactions when on Java Edition you could get all of this stuff made by the community for free, or at least in a way that only supports the people that made such content. Bedrock Edition, while it does perform a lot better in terms of frame rate and draw distance and all that stuff, has a bunch of, like, horrible bugs in it that aren't in Java Edition, and Minecraft and Mojang claim we want to have parity and, but for both versions to play basically the same, and yet they mark some of these horrible experience-ruining bugs as we won't fix this, or working as intended. So, for instance, if you travel 60... So, the Minecraft world is around 30 million blocks in radius. So, it's a square world with a radius of 30 million blocks. However, in Bedrock Edition, after you walk 65,000 blocks out in any direction, strafing or walking in a slightly unusual manner can cause you to fall straight through the world.
What?
And Minecraft and Mojang have said that's not a bug that happens at all in Java Edition. And Mojang have said, yeah, no, we won't fix this.
Just learn to fly like our podcast commander, Joseph
Not
Martin.
my problem.
Fly above.
That's someone else's job.
So
Do
anyway,
it
just
yourself.
horrible decisions being made on the part of the people that, like, actually make the, run this stuff. So, yeah, you do better, Mojang. I know you can do better than this. 1.18 proves that you still have some actually good people working on this game. So, fix your crap. Anyway.
So, yes, the good news now.
The stuff that I'm happy about.
Yes.
I have been playing
I think we're ready.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I have fallen in love with it.
The end.
And yes, the end.
The end. That's
so
it.
it took me a while. The game's tutorials are not great. In some cases, they tell you stuff at inopportune times when you can't really make full use of it, or they just tell it to you in such a way that you don't understand how it can be useful, or they might leave out some extra information that actually helps you, like, do cool things with it, or even outright just tell you stuff that is incorrect.
Oh.
So I had to watch like a guide video to understand how combat mechanics actually worked. But once I did, it is so much fun. The music is amazing. The graphics are really cool. It's staggering the kind of like you can stand on a mountain peak basically and see a town down in the foothills. It's really incredible that they managed to get the game to run at a semi-ish stable frame rate on Nintendo Switch, given the power of that console being not amazing. The characters are amazing. I love the writing. It's a little bit kind of anime and tropey at times, but the character writing is phenomenal. I love the cast a whole lot. The story is really, really amazing at the end. Very, very interesting and thought-provoking. A lot of the villains and stuff have very interesting motivations and stuff. I don't want to get into it, any spoilers, but just, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And now we have news about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. We had the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct a couple days ago. I am really looking forward to that. Unfortunately, Nintendo bungled the release of the special edition of the game.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was amazing. They still have not. I actually wanted to stay up. I woke up at 6 a.m. or like 6:30 or whatever for this Direct to watch it in person, just so, just in case they gave any details about their second attempt at launching the special edition, but with actual things that you can buy this time. But they didn't announce it, which I was a little bummed by. So, but anyway, so it has a lot of cool systems. One of my big complaints is that about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is that the UI could feel a little clunky at times. My understanding is that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had kind of a little bit of a rocky development near the end. So when they were kind of polishing things up, a large number of the UI and user experience designers either were laid off by budget cuts or something like that. Just because of like certain, I don't know. I don't know all the details, but basically a lot of the UI was not super polished, and even some of the nice features we have in the game now were only added like a couple months after the game initially released. So, but the UI in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 looks a lot more polished, a lot easier to understand and read and navigate potentially from what parts I've seen. And oh my gosh, the combat looks really cool. You can switch characters live in combat, which is something I would love to be able to do in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, just for the sake of the additional potential that it adds for, skill, for basically just raises the skill ceiling in combat. There's so much potential for it. And it seems like they are adding a couple different mechanics for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, kind of merging a few different aspects of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We have the basic combat system from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where your special attacks are all mapped to the face buttons, A, B, X, and Y. But we also now map things to the up, down, left, and right arrow buttons, which I guess they were sort of mapped in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but not, to other functions. And we've added back basically the affinity chart from Xenoblade Chronicles 1, which was basically anytime you talk to NPCs in towns, they would actually have relationships, say feuds, friendships, etc., acquaintances, and as you would talk to different people, you would learn more about this kind of complex web of social relationships in each area. And by performing side quests, you would help bring people closer together, or fix problems and see how people's relationships would grow as a result of that. And that was a really cool system, and they didn't have it in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Although I do think that the quality of the side quests in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 overall was higher, because most of the stuff in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 was just like basic, hey, go kill this monster, or hey, go fetch this thing, and there wasn't really a whole lot more to it than that. But a lot of side quests in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 have like full voice acting and stuff, or like extended plots that last for longer than just, hey, go kill this thing. Okay, thanks. And so I am really, really excited for this game because it seems like it could potentially be the best of both worlds, adding a lot of the stuff that was interesting in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, if not, perhaps not fully developed on. So, oh my god, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how it turns out. And I still cannot believe, the last thing I want to say is I still cannot believe that this game is in such a good state of development that they went from, hey, we're releasing this in September to, hey, we're or it was either fall or September, just fall as a broad term, or September specifically, to, hey, we're releasing it at the end of July. Like, that is the first time I've ever heard of a release window being moved forward than backwards. That's unheard of, especially in the world of AAA development. So that's I'm blown away. Yeah. So I will say, though, if they are that confident about it, I do expect a good level of polish on this game when it comes out. If they were confident enough to drop it earlier than originally intended, that better be a sign that this is very, very polished and all the rough edges are rounded down. Obviously, there's going to be issues that the community finds that that couldn't really be found through the kind of testing scale that they have, but still, nothing. This better not be a Bethesda game, or it better not be like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was,
or Mario Strikers.
Yes. So, but yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like I said, there were even features that were added into updates well into the game's lifetime that just added basic functionality, like being able to open the fast travel menu, which you could do in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 just with the press of a single button, I believe. And that was, you had to go through like 2 different menus to get to fast travel at launch in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But after like the 2.0 update or something like that, they added the ability to just press the X button, which wasn't previously just used out when you were out and about. So it's like, okay, that's great. Why didn't it have this from the start?
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of issues that I'm hoping are not going to be present when this game releases, if they are that confident about it.
In related news, I bought my first copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Nice.
I haven't started it yet.
Nice.
As with most of my other Switch games, I haven't started yet.
Right.
I keep buying for some reason.
Speaking of games and buying, the Steam sale is happening as we are recording.
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the Game Cola Discord, which you, the listener, are free to join. Just come and talk.
Hint.
You can come and
Nudge,
ask.
nudge.
Yeah, you can come and talk to Anna about the Steam sale and
come and bully us. Oh wait.
Yeah.
You can try. I'll bully you right back, or I'll cry. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yes, I shared one of my 3 best articles.
classic article.
Being classic greats of spending all your money on the Steam sale, which unfortunately now that
really?
I'm an adult who lives in a place where I have to pay rent and utilities is scarily close to what's actually happening. No, but I've already bought some games, and thankfully it's going on until after I get paid next, so I can pick up some more maybe.
What is the best game you've bought?
The best game I bought myself is Divinity 2, because I started playing my boyfriend's copy, because we have a shared library, but I don't like sharing, so I bought it myself. But some friends and I have already done some exchanges where I buy them something and they get mad at me, and then they buy me something in return and I get mad at them. But my boyfriend has gotten me Boyfriend Dungeon,
Oh.
which I'm very excited to play. One of my friends got me
quick tip for that one. There's going to be a guy you hate. Don't ignore his text messages or it breaks the game.
What?
Dang it. I hate talking to people I hate. Anyway.
Dang.
So you're cheating on your boyfriend virtually.
Yes, with his encouragement.
Times sure
but-
have changed.
Former Game Cola contributor Nicole Kabalik sent me Spiritfarer for PC so I can cry over it at home or on the go.
Wow.
Because I also have it for Switch. But that's kind of
Nice.
where I've been lately. I got Gas Station Simulator because
Gas station simulator?
Gas Station Simulator.
Is
What
there
a
just a
concept.
simulator game for everything nowadays? We have
Yes.
like I was already
And guess
kind of
what?
baffled when we had like
I
truck
need
driving
them.
simulators back in like the mid 2010s rather.
Can
Like,
we
You
that
know
have
how
already
much of
kind
my
of
brain
baffled
I
me.
want to use when I'm playing video games? The bare minimum.
Yeah, but also like
Night
So
Table
that's what I'm
Simulator
gonna
coming
do.
to a
Like,
store near you?
yeah, but I mean, like simulating, like tabletop simulator. Sure, that's a great game. You know, a flight simulator. Sure, that's fun. I mean, I play space flight simulators. I do actual like period accurate like academic level simulations of like the Apollo program. That's crazy. Like that's only something that maybe a few people are really even remotely interested in. But gas station?
You know what I can do, James? I can
What?
stand on a house and power wash it.
Okay, but
I
see,
can
that's
own a
that's
business, and
satisfying.
that
Power
business is a
washing,
gas station.
power washer simulator is awesome. That's so
It's perfect.
satisfying,
I love
right?
everything about
I
it.
love
It's
power
so
washing
nice.
in real life.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, if anyone's house is like, or like bike or car is like that filthy, though, there's like something has gone horribly wrong. It's like
But,
a dust, like maybe
I just
like,
live in LA, so I mean that's.
it looks like a tornado has just run through the neighborhood and just left this house somehow perfectly intact, but just covered in just a full 100% coating of dirt and dust.
Yeah,
Like how has this happened?
it's great. But the reason I bring it up, I was gonna ask if you guys bought anything yet.
Oh hell yeah! I bought a couple of like old school like classic PC games, like a couple like Sid Meier's games, like Sid
Oh,
Meier's
yeah?
Pirates and some other
Ooh.
stuff from him.
I've heard good things about that one.
Oh, the Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy 1.
Oh,
An old point and click game called Return of the Phantom, which is basically like
Oh,
a sequel to Phantom of the Opera.
yeah, I know what that one
Huh.
is.
Oh, I love crap like that. And then Age of Empires 1 I also bought.
yep. Oh gosh, I have only bought one game, but this is actually I think the only game released in 2022 that I've actually now been playing, which is the sequel to AI: The Somnium Files.
I
by the
haven't gotten
creator
it yet.
Yeah, I know. It's by the creator of the Zero Escape series, along with the studio created by the former developers of Danganronpa.
Yeah, they
And-
made a studio together.
Oh, great! Another
Yep.
game for us to play on the channel.
Yep. Well, see, I've already started playing it a bit though. So I mean, listen, John, we'll have to start with the first game though. We would need to start with the first game. Now, strictly speaking, this game you don't actually need to have played the first game. I want to say this outright. You don't need to have played the first game to play this second game, which is weird because it's like actually like a genuine actual sequel, but they ask you at the very beginning, have you played the first game? Have you seen like the events of the story? And if you say no, they will apparently not reference any spoilers.
That's wild.
What?
Which is that's really interesting. But the weird thing is that like I can tell you this just from what I've played, I feel like it's almost going to be like a different experience playing that game with the previous game's spoilers turned off. Because like there are characters
That's
and
a whole
stuff
different
that you
script.
meet that are like integral to the plot or like come about because of plot developments, and I don't actually know how you could like, even just have them there, like, I don't know, I guess you would just kind of gloss over the fact that they're relevant somehow. I don't know how it works, because I have played the first game, so I didn't.
It won't matter, because I also played the first game. That is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's super interesting, and I think that's a very fascinating way to do it. But so far, oh my gosh, it hooked me very, very quickly. The first game took me, because it was a new IP, it was a new property, a new series. It took me a while to kind of get used to, okay, here's what this game is like. But this game, now that it's established, it really kind of hooks you a lot earlier on, and it's very, very interesting. I'm very engaged so far, and it has everything that I was hoping for in a sequel to AI: The Somnium Files. Just zany, amazing.
Now it's another game I have to add to the list of things to buy.
It's really good so far. It's really, really good. And at some point, I would honestly love if John, like after Danganronpa, I would love for like John and I to do another blind plus experienced.
I mean, I would also be up for joining you if you'd have me.
Sure.
No, I'm kidding.
Why not? Honestly, the more the merrier. I love doing these things where it's like I'm the one who's seen it all and knows everything. Well, I mean, you would know the first game, but not the second game potentially. Assuming you are willing to not play it for however many years it takes us to get to the end.
I still haven't progressed to Great Ace Attorney, and I really want to.
Oh God, we need to get back to that. I've been waiting for this. I'm loving Great Ace Attorney so much, and I want to get back to it. It's amazing.
Great games, really.
Yeah,
Truly wonderful.
Yes, games are amazing. So
I love video games.
Speaking of simulator games,
we ended the walkthrough on the first
segues.
Oh no.
Segues?
I believe Anna wanted to talk about a certain simulator game.
Oh, thank you.
Simulator?
Yes.
James, you already talked enough for the amount of time you've been off the podcast.
Listen, I haven't been on the podcast for a year. I'm just
He's catching up
for lost time, okay?
The joke was right there. Come on.
All right, I'll shut up now.
So thank you, Blue. Last month, the pronouns update came out for The Sims 4, which was talked about on the last podcast. It's great, pretty cool. It's awesome to see them, and I know it is just in the English version, but it's great to see them trying this out and trying to make it work well. However, since it is Pride Month, I am going to complain a little bit about some of the downfalls of it. The body types you are asked to choose between are male and female, which makes some of the titles, such as like for the ambitions, connected to the body type that you've chosen. When you go to make a child sim, it will label the parent as the gendered version of what parent it is, despite their pronouns and despite anything else you've made about them. I know that sometimes the Sims are misgendered in especially the newest pack, which is the Werewolf pack, which I will talk about.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
And
I like that you say this not for the pronoun pack, but for the werewolf pack.
Well, that's what I predicted last time.
There are
some more Pride Month, so we can't say Happy Pride Month pronouns.
Yes.
I asked Dana if they thought that they were saving the werewolf pack for Pride Month, and they were. I was correct.
Which is very hilarious.
But I super appreciate the fact that it's finally here after a while of being like, hey, can we have some pronouns, please? And then being like, we're working on it, I promise. Just being like, can we have it yet?
It is interesting from like a programming perspective, though, like how intertwined some of these things are, that like if you're not I run into issues with this, at work with like things that aren't, necessarily like this, but just like, oh, right, I forgot that this was tied to that, and that if you would do this, then that also affects this other thing. It's like, oh yeah, if you don't explicitly link mother and father to the pronouns, then it's going to just assume, like, if nobody sat down and like planned it out and like looked at every single feature in the game, there are things that are going to be missed, which I guess I would assume that the company is big enough to spend time on things like this, but just from a programming perspective, it's like, oh yeah, of course those would be linked. Of course we would have to fix that.
Yep. And
probably why it took so long.
Like it's just one of those things that can be fixed along the way. But this game has also been out for almost 8 years now. A lot of this stuff feels like it could have been done at least a few years ago, and I'll bring that up until the next game comes out if it does. But it's been out for so long.
Sims 4.5.
Yep, exactly.
Just a DLC pack for The Sims 4.
Yep.
Talking about how like some of the pop-ups in the werewolf thing still have pronoun issues, and it's like, you would think if they had been planning this for a while,
should have been future.
Exactly.
Yeah, that like it should have been built with this expected. So,
pronoun DLC people
theory,
are not the same people as the werewolf DLC people.
In theory, though,
apparently.
you might have the werewolf DLC pack and not have the pronoun pack, right?
No, the pronouns is a free update.
Oh, it's a free okay, then...
So the pronouns should be present in pretty much everything. The werewolf pack is paid DLC.
Okay,
you
then
mean you
yeah,
didn't
then
have to pay
that's a lot less...
$50 for the pronoun DLC?
I did not need to pay $50 for my pronouns.
What game is
I was
this? It's
gonna
not The
say,
Sims 4.
I was gonna be like, okay. Like, I could get if it... I would hope that it would be free, but I just wasn't sure if it was an optional add-on or, like, something that is just incorporated into the base game automatically.
They've been throwing in some freebies every once in a while lately.
That's good.
Especially some, like, quality ones, like the skin tones from... like a year ago.
Thanks
might
for
not
the
even be a year ago.
$300 in unnecessary DLC items. Have a little treat. Here's a snack.
Yeah.
They did that for me and me only. They're like, we know you keep buying it. Here.
Yeah.
You can have this as a treat. But,
I wonder if... Sorry, just real quick. I wonder if, whenever or if the next Sims, like, full game does come out, if it will be better about that. Because the one thing I will say is that...
if they are not, I will be severely disappointed.
Yeah, I would be too, honestly. Because the main thing that I will say, again, from programming perspective, is that, yeah, we all wish that this had come out, the game's been out for, 8 years, you said?
Yes, and Sims itself has been around for over 20 at this point, I believe.
Yeah, but a lot of this conversation has, kind of really been peaking in the last decade or so. But the one thing I will say is that adding stuff like this that changes, a lot of the scripts and dialogue in such a fundamental way in some cases, for a game whose code and code base and all its architecture has been in place in this one way, that has existed one way for so many years, there are just inherent challenges in adding, in retooling something that is existed for this long in this one state to just make it work differently. In addition to just we didn't think about that. So I imagine that may also have been one of the reasons that A, it took so long, and B, that there's still problems with it.
James, are you describing video games, or are you describing society?
Oh, dang.
Wow.
They're all
No,
the same.
I completely understand where you're coming from, and I'm not denying that that's probably what's going on. I would just like to see...
Oh, absolutely.
I would just like to see some things change.
Absolutely, and that's why I think that, if they ever come out with another game, that it should be held to a higher standard of that. Because now that they've come out with this update, they've shown that that is something that they have done, and they know mostly how to do in a meaningful way. So we should expect that level of quality going forward for any future releases.
I would also like to say I follow a few people who work on the Sims team on Twitter, and I know, like, most of the ones that I follow are queer. So it feels like this is something that they've also been very excited for themselves. Yeah, the Sims team is pretty much the only part of EA that I think is good. EA can... I can't say bad words anymore. Joe won't let me say bad words on the podcast anymore.
Yes, me, Joseph Martin.
I love the Burnout games.
And me, Joseph Martin.
But
yes.
But yeah, Sims, pretty cool. They posted some stuff a few days ago in light of some stuff, and it made me really appreciate the people working behind that team. Also, understanding that the real world is garbage.
Oh boy.
But the werewolf pack.
Yes.
Werewolves, oh my goodness. So...
Minecraft gets Ice Age, Sims
really
gets
like
werewolves.
I actually really like it a lot. I don't even remember what werewolves were like in Sims 3. I like the look of them much better. They don't just look like super hairy humans. They're actual wolf people. I love all the stuff that you get with the pack, including the place. I love all the furniture. I love everything about it. The only thing I don't love is just, this is what being a supernatural creature would be like, is that your powers would just kind of happen in the middle of the day and you have nothing, you can't do shit about it.
I was about to ask, how does it compare to simulating the real life versions of werewolves?
As far as I know, great.
I'm sure they have at least one werewolf on the Sims development team to consult with.
Exactly, yeah. No, but there's like a meter that builds up, and then you kind of just go completely feral for a bit after it fills up.
Just like real
So
life.
you can't really control your sim.
So you got a Wolverine rage meter.
You can click on them and be like, hey, do you want to calm down a little bit? Because you get points. You can earn different things that you can do. One of them is regaining control while the full moon is out or while you are in rage mode, which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We've talked about this in the Discord, but toddlers, kids, they can't really do anything. And The Sims it really just doesn't have a lot for kids or toddlers at all in terms of like any of the supernatural stuff.
Just like
it
life.
Really just, they
just
don't have anything. Babies can't be werewolves. They can't be vampires. They can't cast spells.
Dang.
It's awful.
That's all of my dreams ruined right there.
I want my toddler character to be scratching sofas and biting wood.
That would honestly be amazing. That would be so great, though. That would be amazing levels of detail.
The first ever toddler I had that was had two werewolf parents, like they had a toothache
in the game,
from
right?
their fangs growing in.
In the game,
which
right?
That was about as good as it got, though.
Well, it's
I do love it. I love the pack a lot. I like it so much more than I liked the last one. I still don't know how I feel about them having them so separated, all these supernatural packs. And I would love to see fairies. I would love to see fairies because those were fun in the last game. Ghosts don't really need it, but you can make your sim a ghost pretty easy. In fact, that's what a lot of players like doing in their free time. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about regarding The Sims.
Anna, real quick, you mentioned about these supernatural packs being separated.
Yes.
What do you mean exactly by that? Since I don't play The
in
Sims.
Sims 3, they had vampires in the late night expansion, and then maybe a few years later, they had a supernatural pack, which included all the races, and all the full moon aspects of being a supernatural creature. It also included zombies, which didn't really do anything. They kind of just stood outside your home. They were just like, and they stood there. Didn't do
just
anything.
A minor inconvenience.
was a minor inconvenience.
They're lawn ornaments.
Exactly. But so far we've had a vampire pack, we've had a spellcaster pack, and we've had the werewolf pack, which I like the amount of attention that each one has gotten. Vampires are pretty much the same as they've ever been, as far as I know. I don't usually play vampires.
Again, in real life also.
Also, yes.
Yep. Very true.
Spellcasters, they're fine. I think I do like it a little bit better than I liked the last one. I think there's probably also more from the last one that I would have liked to see in Sims 4. I just can't remember what it is right now. I can't complain if I can't remember. But then, again, werewolves, so much more going on there.
Nice.
When it first started releasing, like with the second one, which was the spellcasters, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but if they all continue to get this much attention, if they plan on giving us more, I think I'm okay with it. As long as it's not like, as long as I don't run out of money. I have rent. I have actual rent to pay
in real life.
Yeah,
that's
always the existential problem with DLC packs.
It's so unfortunate. But the thing is, if you buy them as they release, it's a lot better than buying them all at once. Unless they're all on sale.
So, like, when they launch, are they on sale? Is that how it works?
No, it's just easier for me, because then I don't forget about it.
And then you have to go back and make, like, a $300 purchase to make up for the last 5 packs you missed? Oh, okay, that makes sense.
No, but I actually really like it, and it's great.
Cool.
So we have genders and werewolves.
So, yeah, past month, as well as more importantly, Pride Month, there was also E3 season, even though there was no E3 this year.
Yeah.
But there was a big handful of announcements, and I just want to go through like a handful of them just to see, like, get to show ones I'm excited for, and then maybe if anyone else is excited for something, you can chime in. Please do. I always feel like it's just me talking through this stuff. So, first things first, they showed off PlayStation VR 2, or at least some cool-looking games for it. So, like, No Man's Sky is going to be on it. The Horizon VR game is going to be on it. It looks cool. It's going to be a sequel to that Walking Dead Saints and Sinners game, which I personally played. I beta tested it, actually. It was very fun. So, this one looks like the same thing, except, you know, not as glitchy or janky. When I beta tested it, I fell through the map and they told me, hey, is this supposed to happen? Spider-Man PS4 is coming to PC. Can't wait to buy that. So it'll run at 15 frames per second at 360p.
On my 2014 iMac that's running boot camp.
Stray looks cool.
The big cat game.
Big cat game. It looks like a nice little stealth game, unless there's something else I'm missing from it. I'm really excited to play Street Fighter 6 because just the trailer is like very hype, lots of cool energy, cool mechanics. The entire like Street Fighter website like changed like on the dime as soon as the trailer was released, and there's just so many like details on the characters and all the new mechanics and what you can play. What you can do. There's going to be like simplified controls. So you can do the traditional 6-button Street Fighter layout, but you can also switch to a 3-button layout for newcomers, which I bet will be very cool and very accessible to a lot of people.
Interesting.
But yeah, trailer looks cool. I may end up competing in that, or at least if I really like it. Final Fantasy 16 had a really awesome, like, epic trailer that in hindsight, didn't really have much to do with each other. It was just a VO playing over images that just look cool.
Yeah,
but
it's a hype trailer.
Yeah, it is a hype trailer. But the devs went into detail for the past few weeks talking about how the game's gonna work and whatnot. You're gonna be playing as one character throughout the whole thing. You're not gonna be like switching between party members, and party members are gonna be AI controlled the whole time. Combat's gonna be more like Kingdom Hearts / Devil May Cry-esque, which sounds very fun to me.
Ooh.
So yeah, I can't wait for that. Very different. It's gonna be more action heavy than Final Fantasy 15 was. So like instead of holding down the button to attack, you're actually like doing combos and stuff, which seems
very cool.
Interesting.
And then there's like the big summon fights where they're like, oh yeah, these summon fights are going to be very unique on each one. One could be like a third-person shooter, while another one's going to be like a pro wrestling match. I'm like, excuse me?
It's whoa.
What?
That's ambitious.
What are you talking about? So I think it's not going to be like Final Fantasy X, where you summon like a big deity and they does its attack animation. They only have like 3 attack animations. I think this one's gonna be like it's gonna be a unique like combo for like every like unique summon's gonna have a different like unique thing going on for everyone they face.
Or sort of when you throw kaiju fights into RPGs.
Especially when you edit it together in the most epically fun hype trailer ever I've seen in E3.
Yeah.
I've probably watched it like a million times because I just love like the music drops and whatnot. So that was the Sony thing. Nintendo has yet to drop a normal Nintendo Direct, but they dropped the Xenoblade one, which we've already talked about.
Yes.
Microsoft showed some stuff. Like I think there was like maybe 2 games I was interested the whole time. Microsoft is weird because like when they show off E3 stuff, it's like they show off all their cool like indie stuff, but it just looks like discount versions of other better games that we all know, or at least like, and it combines like a bunch of other games that we know. I'm like, this looks cool and all, but it's like you're not really doing much for me in terms of, I don't know. It's like their presentations are always just feel empty to me.
Yeah, a bit like Microsoft as a whole. Oh,
wah wah wah. Blue, you're gonna like this. The Marvel Midnight Suns like Darkness Falls trailer was shown. And
yes, I'm aware of that one.
Yeah, and what frustrates me is that they don't show gameplay in any of these big reveal trailers. They're just like, hey, this game's coming out soon. I'm like, okay, what does it look like?
2 big boss fights worth of. There's a lot of gameplay out there if you want to look for it.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like I know there's gameplay that exists, but they don't show it off at like big events like this because it's an XCOM game, basically.
Well, I mean, it's sort of not an XCOM game. It is very different. They replaced the randomness of you have a 95% chance to hit, but you won't for some reason. That was in XCOM, and they replaced it with you can make your own deck of cards. Each character has like 8 cards, I think, and you have 3 characters, and you can like build a deck from that, and you get a new hand each turn, and you can cards manipulate your hand. But the problem is people don't understand that card game video games can be fun, and so they were just like, oh, cards, well, this game's garbage now, even though that makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it's...
That is fair.
Sorry, I had to. I have a personal grievance with that game.
Oy.
But yeah, like, I was reading about the PlayStation Plus games for last month or the month before, and Slay the Spire was on it, and so everyone was complaining because it's a bad card game. No one wants that. And they were like, oh, remember the good old days when they had 3 first-person shooters in the same month? Those were the good days.
People
Some
just
say
complain.
that those people are still playing those 3 first-person shooters.
No, they're playing the new versions that are the same game just for another $80.
Here's my thing, though. That is a very vocal minority of people that are just complaining about that. Because if they wouldn't put it on PlayStation Plus if they didn't know people would wouldn't download it, or like some people would be excited about that.
Yep.
Midnight Suns it has like Persona and Fire Emblem style. Be friends with this person and they'll get stronger and stuff. Sort of relationship mechanics. So
like if Spider-Man and
like
Daredevil are like in the fight together, they'll have like an ability or something.
I think it's your main character is customizable, and so you can go up to Wolverine and be like, hey, how's your day going? And he'll be like, why are you talking to me?
We're in a fight.
Yeah.
What do
But
you
yeah, you
want?
have main hub, and there's like puzzles and exploration and talking to people and hanging out with them. So I'm excited. Also, it has like more obscure characters like Sister Grimm, who is great.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to try it out personally. I'm not sure how much is it gonna be like a full price game at the when it gets at launch?
Yeah, because it is like a 60-hour campaign.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's replayable because you won't have enough time to build relationships with everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'll be spending hundreds of hours playing it probably.
Play it on the channel.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I would need someone to
Give
join
us
me.
content.
For what game? For you playing what game? The
Marvel Midnight Suns, yeah.
Interesting.
It comes out in a few months. If I do record it, I'll need someone to I don't know if I'm good enough at speaking to
manage the chat while you
hundreds of
play.
hours by myself.
Oh yeah, that
Make
too.
that entertaining.
Understandable, really.
TMNT Shredder's Revenge got a release date of last Friday.
Yeah.
It is currently out, and I ordered the physical version, not knowing it would come in 3 months.
Because
Oh no!
Oh.
So, yeah. I still have to
Another
wait a bit.
limited run game purchase.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's also available at Best Buy and Target to pre-order because it's a publisher thing. It's like a limited yeah. It's like same thing. Hitman 3 did the same thing, where it was limited run was distributing it, but also through some retailers also.
That sucks.
John and I finally got our limited run Monkey Island stuff in December.
Yay!
Yeah, but this one's has more of a budget. It's this isn't solely by limited run. It's just they're helping.
No, I just wanted to mention that we finally got it.
Oh yeah, we got it. We got it a full year after we ordered.
Yeah.
I
got mine before him, and I got to open it while on video chat with him and James. It was great.
It was so fun.
It was awesome.
Aliens Dark Descent had a really long CG trailer. I'm like, oh, what is this game? Are they trying to redo Colonial Marines but good this time? It's another XCOM game. They showed 2 seconds of XCOM gameplay footage at the very end of the trailer. I'm like, amazing. What the hell? Come on. That's so funny.
That is the one this is the bad thing about Midnight Suns not being exactly like XCOM, because I was sort of relying on that to bring me into XCOM. Because if there's one way you're gonna get me into genre, it's make a superhero game about it. It's really good, so that I can join the other ones, since I know how stuff works.
Yeah, that works. I got into RPGs because I played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which just happened to be one of the greatest RPGs at the time of release. Goat Simulator 3.
What?
Every time I hear that, it gets a little more unbelievable every time.
There was a Goat Simulator 2?
No, there wasn't.
I'm not going crazy.
They pulled a Leisure Suit Larry, just skip the sequel.
Isn't that what Monkey Island did with the newest game? There was there is never going to be a Monkey Island 4 or something, so they made Monkey Island 5. 6. Okay.
Yeah. And this was really funny because the trailer was parroting the trailer for Dead Island 2, a game that still hasn't come out. And so when it started, everyone's like, is it back? The art design is different, but is it back? No. Instead of zombies, goats attacked. It was funny. So yeah, that was a good reveal. The Last of Us Part 1 remake from PS5, built completely from the ground up in the Last of Us Part 2 engine.
Which I don't think I need.
No, I don't think anyone need it, because you could play the regular version on PS4 and PS5 already.
Free if you have PS Plus.
Also, this is a full price game. It's $70.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fan. Kind of sucks, but hey, some fans are excited. I'm happy for them, but come on.
As long as they enjoy it.
Yeah. Layers of Fear 3 which I'm very excited for because I love the first 2 games. They're just like very trippy. They're kind of walking simulators because you can't die in the first one.
Isn't it like a weird remake and expansion of all the previous Layers of Fear stuff?
Not really, because it looks completely different. The set pieces are like completely different, so it could be a reimagining, like a really like in-depth remake where they're just like it's like a remake in a name only. Yeah, it's the same devs though, so I'm like, all right, whatever, do what you want. But I'm excited either way. Oh, James, you're back. Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 8 DLC.
Yeah, well, I've been back, John.
I know. I was already on a roll.
I left for like 2 minutes.
It's because it was the first. It's like you left as soon as
right,
I started, and it was the first.
I'm sorry about that.
It was the first.
Yeah. So full disclosure. So Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4 remake. Sorry, I am very excited for, but not because, oh boy, I want to see what they've changed, but because I've never actually played Resident Evil 4. I've never gotten past, like, full honesty here. I'm still playing Resident Evil 2.
Remake.
No, original.
Oh. Okay.
I have not beaten Resident Evil. I have not beaten Resident Evil 2 or the remake, and I want to beat Resident Evil 3 after that. So I'm basically playing the original game, then its remake. Original game, then its remake. And
I still have to play all the Resident Evil games because I really want to.
Start wherever you want. I started at 4.
Yeah,
it's like
there's like 0, and then there's like Revelations games, and
there's
0 is
I will say
kind of a mixed bag from what I've heard.
I will say this: the overarching plot of the entire series is so stupid and like very hard to follow. You might as well you can just start anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that part. There's no it won't make any sense.
I know I watched like the demo of 7 and then a bunch of 7, and that's just like a good horror game.
Oh yeah, 7 is amazing. What's really cool is that the Resident Evil 8 DLC is that you can now play. There's a big story expansion, and they're expanding the Mercenaries mode, the big side mode that's just for fun. And then they're putting the entire of the original game in third person now, which I'm not sure how it'll change gameplay wise, but it'll give me a good excuse to go back and play it because I loved Resident Evil Village. It was my game of the year last year. But yeah, that was fun. Am I missing anything else? Anyone know if there was like another announcement they were excited for?
Well, we got the PS5, like the next gen upgrades for like you mentioned, for Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake. Which I've tried because I have a PS5 by some miracle, and it's subtle. The improvements are subtle for as far as the ray tracing goes. The high frame rate is really cool. Like it feels weird to play RE2 remake that buttery smooth. Although I also suck at shooting games with a controller. I'm really bad at them, and I want to play it on PC. However, the problem is, Capcom completely bungled the update on PC. So they added ray tracing support. However, if your graphics card, like mine, doesn't support ray tracing, the graphics get worse than they were on the previous update that didn't support ray tracing. They downgrade your graphics settings.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, just don't turn it on. If your graphics card doesn't support ray tracing, why would you even try it?
Like, as in, you have no choice. If your graphics card doesn't support ray tracing, your graphics, like your visual experience, is downgraded from what it was before this update came out. Like, they butchered the graphics when you don't have ray tracing enabled on PC.
What the hell?
So anyone who doesn't have ray tracing support now has a worse experience than they did before this update came out.
That sounds like a big oopsie. Like, it doesn't sound like they did that on purpose.
They really screwed it up somehow. They really screwed it up. Like, it's great on console, but like, if you don't have this top-of-the-line hardware, which a lot of people really don't, as the Steam hardware survey shows, you now just have a worse experience. And that that sucks. So I imagine, I hope they'll fix it, because it can't have been intentional. But yeah, so I would love to play this new, to continue go back to playing it on PC, but I can't because now my graphics look weird and buggy.
Well, at least you have the PS5.
Yeah, I do, and that's cool. The enhanced the reflection, because the reflections were always kind of a weird. They were really weird in the original release. Like your character would somehow block reflections on the ground that were ahead of them, just because of the way that the reflections are generally programmed in video games that don't have ray tracing. But it was especially egregious in games made in the RE engine. Like, the way that engine handles reflections itself was just really weird. So ray traced reflections and lighting really does just help fix those last couple immersion breaking issues in the game world, and it looks really cool.
Cool. There was also a Final Fantasy VII stream, but I don't know too much about Final Fantasy VII.
The next part of the Final Fantasy remake is coming up.
That's right.
Winter next year.
Yep.
So that was a lot shorter than I was expecting. I was expecting to be like, hey, here's a teaser. You'll see part 2 in 7 years.
Yeah, it's coming 2025.
Nomura!
See, that's the thing, though. The reason it's coming out so soon is because Nomura isn't working on this part. He's working on part 3. That's the reason this one's coming out so soon, is because he's the one making the third part take so long.
Oops. But yeah, that's that.
So, we've heard a lot about, announcements and updates and so on, but what games have we actually been playing lately?
I have been playing a little indie game called Citizen Sleeper, and it is really, really good. I suppose you'd describe it as like a visual novel RPG. It's sort of similar to a game I played a while ago that was based on the Werewolf the Apocalypse role-playing game called Werewolf the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest, where you start the game and you have a little, you make your, character sheet exactly like you would in the role-playing game on, tabletop game.
Yeah.
And then you, go through visual novel and you make choices and use your stats, and there's, dice rolls and stuff. So it's really like you're playing a one-on-one session where you're the player and someone else is the GM. And it's I want more of those types of games.
Yeah.
And Citizen Sleeper it's got a mechanic where every day you start with a number of die rolls already rolled for you, and so you slot them into actions, and your outcome is based on your die rolls that you put in. So every day you have to assess what you have, assess your needs and what you want to do, and you have to go around doing things, trying to survive, because you're a breaking down robot guy who escaped being a corporate slave, sort of. The idea is that you were indebted to this company, and so you signed away your rights to your brain, basically, and they put it in a robot to do work for them.
Oh.
And you got tired of that, and you escape. But planned obsolescence is a thing, so your body is breaking down, and you have to find ways to make money and not starve to death, and also not fall into pieces, all while you have random die rolls every day, and you have to decide, there's different levels of tasks. There's safe, dangerous, and risky. And so you have to really consider, should I put my guaranteed success? I only have one of them. The rest are garbage. Do I do it in this task, or should I put a 1 die in here since I have a skill in this and it will give me a +1? And also there's a lot of clocks ticking down. The world is alive with or without you, so people's quests will shut down if you don't go and do them. It's a lot. It's surviving capitalism, and it's hard.
Oh no.
Just like real life.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
beautiful, and the music's pretty, and the writing's really good. And it's just really good, and I would recommend it to people if you like reading.
But this is a video game podcast.
It's video.
There are video aspects of this reading game.
Yeah.
It is an interactive experience.
I say that as one of the games we frequently talk about is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna, do you have games you've been playing?
I do. I've been playing a lot of Sims. I've been playing a lot of Power Wash Simulator. Those are the two big ones lately, along with two newer games for me, Divinity 2 and Solasta Crown of the Magister, which are both very D&D-like, which I absolutely love. Solasta actually has dice rolling. You don't get to roll the dice. It rolls the dice for you, which is a little sad, but that's fine, I guess. But it's a lot of fun. There are classes still coming out. Obviously, the first character I made was a rogue, which my boyfriend and friend, but we're both like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I've been playing through one of the campaigns with them, and it's a lot of fun. I haven't played a super long time, but from what I've seen, it is very fun. Divinity 2 is one of those games that I've heard about for years, and I just never tried it until after I got Solasta, and I loved it and decided I finally needed it for myself, and thankfully it was a very good price in the sale. Otherwise, would not have gotten it. Also, Cooking Mama is on Apple Arcade if you have an Apple device.
Huh.
Interesting.
I'm playing in Cooking Mama on my phone.
Was this Cooking Mama 8?
Cooking Mama Ultimate.
Ultimate!
Unlimited.
Everyone is
LLC.
here.
Super Smash Brothers
like
Cooking
Smash.
Mama Ultimate.
Yeah, super.
Everyone
There
is
we
here.
go.
It is just like Smash.
Cooking Mama, the surprise secret after we finished all the extra characters in
Oh,
Smash.
I
Cooking Mama is here.
would love it. And she doesn't even hit anybody. She just says things at you, and they're very angry. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
She just
No,
gives
her
everyone a
special
I'm so
homemade
attack
sorry.
is
lasagna.
just a copy of Kirby's, like, whatever Kirby's,
I'll
like,
restart
cooking
the recipe.
ability
I'm
is.
so sorry.
Oh no!
But that's what I've been doing lately.
Nice.
James?
So, in addition to stuff like Xenoblade Chronicles and AI The Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative, I
And
have
yelling
been
at
playing...
Minecraft.
Yes, and yelling about Well, no, I haven't been playing Minecraft because I'm mad about it. But what I have been playing a ton of is with my family. I've broken out our old PS2 and started replaying Dragon Quest VIII. Journey of the Cursed King.
Dude, I just bought a copy of that.
Oh yeah, on
I can't wait to
3DS
play
or PS2.
PS2, because 3DS is like $200.
Yeah, the 3DS version. I actually have a physical copy of the 3DS version.
Would you sell it to me for 50 cents?
No. I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of it, but like, it's worth more than that. So I'm very mixed on my opinions about the 3DS game. It adds a lot of nice quality of life and even adds like additional content. But like visually and auditorially, it's a downgrade. Like the visuals are worse. I mean, it's already on a display that's half the resolution of what the PS2 could do back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And the audio is MIDI instead of a symphonic orchestra. And that is that. So we went from Dragon Quest XI. People were upset that it started out as MIDI, and they were like, yeah, gosh, finally, when they actually put in the symphonic orchestra in the upgrade. So Dragon Quest VIII did the opposite. It released, at least in America, with the symphonic soundtrack, and then the re-release on 3DS was downgraded to the MIDI soundtrack from the original Japanese release. Which, what the heck? Come on now.
But it's in 3D now, James.
Except,
what about
is
the 3D?
It, though?
Did you
is
think
it
about
actually
that?
in 3D? I'm pretty sure games by this point mostly were like, oh, only plays in 2D, and it's disabled.
They're
I don't
like,
know.
yeah,
I
this
could
was a
check.
mistake. We're sorry.
Yeah, anyway, I've been playing a lot of Dragon Quest VIII because that was one of the first games that we played as a family that really got us into RPGs and stuff. My dad, back when we were in middle school, played Dragon Quest, and we all gathered around him, and we had like a strategy guide and would read it out and help him find all the chests in the world and get the cool gear and craft all the awesome stuff. And so now, like more than a decade later, like probably 15 years later, I'm coming back and now I'm playing it, and our whole family's gathered around on the couch reading from that same strategy guide. We actually used the first strategy guide so much it started falling apart. So we bought a another used copy of it on eBay, the same exact guide. And so we've been reading through that, and so it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. It still holds up as a game. It's amazing. It's so much fun, and honestly, it's awesome. It's been so much fun getting to because most of the games I don't really play with any games that the rest of my family plays. I mean, my sisters play kind of more modern games, whereas I play very niche or older games. And so this is something, and then of course my parents don't really play any games at all, aside from like maybe casual mobile games every once in a while. So this is the one kind of place where we can all really get together and kind of play games as a social thing together as a family, and it's been a whole lot of fun.
Anytime my dad tried to help me, he would just be like, hey, did you read the actual directions? And I'd be like, no, Dad, let me play my video game. So my dad's tried to help me play video games with very reasonable advice.
Yep.
My family and I had a guide for Tomb Raider 2 on the PC back in the day, and that guide fell apart so fast.
Like all of the pages were falling out in our Dragon Quest VIII guide. It was genuinely. We still have it. It is just in pieces.
So, John, have you played any video games recently?
Well, this month was actually, in terms of new releases for me, it was like retro month because we had like new releases of we had like Pac-Man Museum Plus, which was like 14 classic Pac-Man games on being released, and then we had I was starting playing Sonic Origins that just came out like this week.
Oh gosh, that's right.
Which is that's all right. It's really fun. It's really well put together. There's a lot of quality of life changes that like make going through the games like so much better. Like they got rid of the live system, so now if you can't get like a game over in the middle of the game and have to start up from the beginning again. I'm like, oh, thank God. So I actually beat Sonic 1 for the first time.
Nice.
It's not that good.
No, it's not.
The first level is fun, and then the rest is like, slow down, stand still, wait for this thing to happen.
It's like it came from a completely different game.
It's interesting. I've actually heard a lot of complaints, particularly about the physics. So, like, there's a couple instances where the physics are not quite the same as they were in the original games they came from. So certain things, like near the end of the game in Sonic 2, there was a spring that would launch you up, and you would be just underneath these spikes. It was basically like to scare you. So, like, if you just stand there, you will go up to be like 5 or 6 pixels away from touching these spikes. So no matter what you do, you won't hit them, but it shows you, oh, hey, watch out, there are spikes here. Kind of like almost like a fake out. In Origins, you actually hit those spikes. So you will be launched from a blind view straight into spikes in a later part of the game, which, like, people already had complaints about the level design in the last couple sections of Sonic 2, but also people are not happy about the audio quality, but that's mainly from like my super nerdy people who are like, they recorded the audio like from a console, from an actual Sega Genesis, they think, but like the quality of the recordings are not good. There's like weird distortion and stuff.
Yeah.
Although, like, again, the main rants is because I happen to know a guy that made, like, an actual hardware modification to improve audio quality on actual Sega Gen. Like, he literally developed a mod chip to install in Sega Genesis consoles that improves their audio quality. And so he is absolutely in shambles. Like not to like just, you know, to make light of his like actual criticism, of course, but like, you know, there's a lot of people who are very, very familiar with these games, who have put hundreds of hours into them, are very meh on this collection, which is too bad, because I thought it was like, it could be really cool, but
And here's the thing, for a casual audience, it is very cool. It's like, it's a way better version to play Sonic 1 than the already 2 versions available to play it on Switch.
Yeah.
What the hell? But
yeah, definitely.
But I would still like play this version, like, no, because like I first played Sonic 1 on the compilation on the Nintendo DS, which is not the best version to play.
Yeah,
at all.
Better than Sonic Genesis.
Yeah, but so it's like I'll take any upgrade at this point, and it's technically this isn't even like an emulator. It's the it's like a native version running on Switch or console through the retro engine that was used for the mobile versions that everyone seemingly loves.
Yeah, and it's the first time we have Sonic 3 and Knuckles for
in a
like,
long time
ages
with different
and
music.
Ages. Although I am still very sad that they changed out some of the music, I think.
It's legal reasons. It's like, it's
I know.
We still have the old music anyway.
Yeah, we do have the old music. The old music.
Turn the game audio down and you play
play the
There you go. That's how we do it.
Then you'll forget to turn it off when you go to the next stage. You're like, oops.
Just have the game playing on a Sega Genesis next to you.
Input the controls into that game as well.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
I should be getting the Capcom Fighting Collection in the mail today, because that came out like this Friday. I can't wait to play that, because I have...
What's that got in it?
All of the Darkstalkers games, even the ones that didn't release in America.
Huh.
Red Earth, and then like Star Gladiator, like a bunch of obscure Capcom fighting games that haven't seen the light of day in years. And like Hyper Street Fighter 2, which was only released on the PS2. Yeah, and like a Puzzle Fighter 2, and then Pocket Fighter, if you know, that was also never released outside Japan. I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, I can't wait to play that. And every game has like online support with rollback netcode and whatnot, so that's a very nice touch.
Nice.
But yeah, I've also been playing like Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. I think I played like too much of that game, like since I got it. Yeah, it's very fun, very repetitive, but it's like something about it. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll just play this for a little bit. 20 hours later. I'm like, I've been hitting X this whole time. Why is this so much fun?
Hey, Johnny, do you play video games?
I have had a little bit of time to play some games. I was playing some NES games, trying to get some inspiration since I'm doing, NES game dev now. And so I was looking at like, Ryder, Willow, some of these like, they're classics, but they're, kind of like Crystalis. They're not talked about by a lot of people. So I was just kind of getting some inspiration. And then actually, I think what I'm going to do when we wrap up this podcast is on the last podcast, it was suggested that I go look into Sable, one of the nominees for Best Indie Game and some other things. And now I see it's on sale. So I think I'm going to wrap up this here podcast. It's been a good one. Had a lot of people.
Gonna get going?
Gotta buy Sable?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go buy Sable and then see what that's all about.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, thank you everyone for being here on this podcast with me, Joseph Martin.
And me, Joseph Martin.
Yes.
And me, Michael Gray.
Yes.
Yep.
We haven't had Michael Gray on
over
here.
Your colds. Your voice is very unusual.
The Holy Trinity.
I have a cold.
Yep.
So yes,
I have 2 bulbs.
Great.
Yes.
He'll never guess how many the other Joe has.
Yeah. So yes, we will thank you everyone for listening, and visit us on YouTube, GC.net, the letter G, the letter C, the word dot, the word net. Rate us highly on your preferred podcasting platform of choice, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever fine podcasts are sold. So yes, hopefully I didn't forget anything.
Social media.
If you would like to have a Game Cola podcast at any time of day, you can also talk to us on our Discord server.
This is true. Yes, you can join our Discord.
Which you can find on our actual internet website.
Yes,
and also
you can.
In our Twitter bio at Game Cola.
Yeah.
Social medias.
Yes. So follow us, like us, listen to us, all those things. And until then, that was a podcast that we did. Thank you.
Game on, everybody. Game on.
We did it. We did it. Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Sync.
John, your vid cam is still on.
My what?
Yeah, your webcam. We can see your doom.
Your vid cam.
Yeah.
Your vid cam.
Vid pos.
God
Pod,
damn it.
pod, vod, vid, vidcast.
Yes, the vid your television is still on.
A video podcast with my video would just be me staring at my desk and looking for things to play with, just so that everyone gets mad at me when they have to edit.
Okay.
Sounds about right.